Good morning, Flosstube. Today is Thursday, October 8th. My name is Dawn Marie, and this is DM's Crafty Vortex. This is my channel mostly about cross stitch. If you're a returning viewer, thank you so much for coming back again. If you are new, thank you for giving my channel a shot. We're going to start today with some whips, which are work in progress. If you don't know what whips stand for, I've had a couple of people comment about what do all the acronyms mean, so I'm going to try and talk about them and not just use the alphabet, but actually say what they mean as we go on. I do have a couple of new starts. I also have a couple of finishes. One of them will not be fully finished. It's going to be sent off as is. Another one is finished for the week, but it will progress, and I will be calling it a mini finish every single week. My first project that I've been working for a while is Little Things 2. Here is the pattern. I'm using all the called for colors. I'm using the called for fabric, which is 14 count white Aida. I'm making this for my best friend Amy. I've been working on it for a while. I thought it was going to be a surprise, but she decided to start watching my channel, so now she gets to watch it as it progresses. The good news about her watching the channel is it's giving her the cross stitch bug, so now she's picked up a cross stitch and she's going to get it started. She's also placed an order for a bag, so I went out and bought some fabric, and I'm going to make her a bag this week and get that shipped off to her. I'm very excited about the thought of her cross stitching with me. So again, this is the pattern. Friendship is not a big thing, it is many little things. This is what it looked like last week when I was working on it, and here is where it is today. Isn't that coming out so pretty? Most of my work was done right here on this block. There was a little outline done last week. That little outline got ripped out and redone. This was the week of frogging, which means I did a lot of ripping out. After I got the border in and I started on this little section right here, I realized everything was shifted over one too many. I thought I could ignore it, but I couldn't, so I ripped it all out and put that block back in again. So hopefully by next week, this block will be done and I'll be able to start on the writing and then the border. So I feel like this is the majority. I am on the home stretch. The next thing I started working on, I needed to get some autumn feeling going, and it was the autumn alphabet. I was going to do all the called for colors, but when I went and picked up all the colors, the center pumpkin, the thread was actually green instead of blue. So I'm doing a little mixture of DMCs. And then when I started to do the green around the edge, it came out too dark. So this project had a lot of ripping as well. This is where it was last week. I did not have much done. I still don't have much done, but I did put a lot of work into it. So if you see where it's at now, I dyed this fabric myself. I just used some Ritz dye. I used some light brown, some dark brown, and then I spread some coral around on it. So if you can see that. So on this outside edge, I stitched it in and then decided that the color was just too dark. So what I did is I took the color that goes there, and instead of using two strands, I used one strand of the color and I used one strand of the light blue, and I put them together so that I got more of a blended effect. And I used 3761 was the DM color, and then 7092 was the, I believe it's Gentle Arts, or is it Weeks Dye Work? Pause, please. It was Gentle Arts Otter Creek, so it's a little bit of a blend of both. So that got stitched in, it got ripped out. Then I did the entire pumpkin, and I work nights, so I was finishing this pumpkin at about 1 in the morning and realized that when I got to about there, I had added an extra row in, and then I just thought, you know, as you do, you make bad decisions about midnight. I'm just going to keep going and I'm going to fudge it. And then when I woke up the next morning, decided I couldn't live with it, so ripped out half the pumpkin and restitched that in again. So this pumpkin has probably been stitched twice by now. So again, that is the Autumn Alphabet from Willow Hill Samplings. The next project I'm working on is just a little something my daughter bought me a few years ago, and it was just in a little goodie bag. I was going on a trip, so she put together a little bag of things for me to do, and this is Delight in the Little Things. So it got stashed away, and I decided to pull it out the other day and bring it to work with me, as it had everything in it, the chart, the colors, the fabric. It was something just easy to grab and take. I thought it was going to be a nice, quick little cross stitch to do on my lunch breaks. However, if you look at it, it is actually completely filled in. So it is not tan fabric. It's white fabric that you're stitching all the tan. This is where it was last week. I only had a little bit done. And this is where I am now. I do love the colors. So I've got In Little Things. It's going to go just a little bit each day on my lunch break. I only worked about 4 days this week. I had a surprise day off, so I didn't get worked on that day. And I had a day where I just couldn't touch it. So, but again, I'm not rushing them. I'm stitching for the enjoyment of it. The next thing I'm working on is actually a start and a finish. I got it out of the Cross Stitch Halloween's book. And this is what I'm doing. I'm not doing the border, and I'm not finishing it. It's being mailed, so I'm just stitching the cat, the pumpkin, and the little mouse. And it's going to go in a little card, and it's going to get mailed off. So it's done. It's not going to be fully finished, but for me, it's done. It's ready to go. It was really fun and quick to stitch up. So this is where this is at. Isn't that just the most adorable thing? Kind of want to stitch up another one for me, but I think that maybe that'll be next year. But that was really fun to work on. And now it can go in the mail. And then the last thing I stitched on this week is, I'm considering it finished because it's a mystery stitch along. So every Friday we get a little clue to the next section. So the section for this week is done. And it's Fright Night from Fat Quarter Shop. The fabric is hazy gray on 14 count. I'm using all the called for colors. I just ordered the whole kit and she sent everything to me. So this is going to be using all the week's dye work colors, and again, I just had them send me the kit so I didn't have to think about it, so everything's called for. Tomorrow the next clue will come out, and what I am doing is working exclusively on Fright Night until it's completely done. Then I have 2 pen pals I just signed up for, so I will, every week for the first 2 weeks of the month, I will work on their little stitch and get that done, and then I'll start into my rotation of my other projects, and I think that'll be a lot of fun. So that's it for my whips this week. For my haul, which is all my shopping, it has been pretty much exclusively for my daughters. I showed a couple of weeks ago that I picked them each up a cross stitch pattern. This is the one I picked up for my daughter Kayla. She's my oldest twin. So I kitted everything up for them. They don't have anything, so I got a hoop, I've got the fabric, I've got all the flosses, a little needle threader, so everything for her to do the cross stitch. but I can't give it to her in this bag. So I had them go pick out fabric for their cross stitch bags. And this is what Kayla picked out. So hopefully at some point this week, this is going to turn into a cross stitch bag. And if you look, she picked out her fabrics to go with her pattern. So that's for Kayla. And then this is the cross stitch for my daughter Diane. She's the younger of the two twins. And everything is kitted up for her as well. And this is the fabric that she picked out. So again, she kind of wanted to match her pattern. So that was all my shopping for this week. I'll get started on those and get those made up for them. I also picked up some fabric for my friend Amy. I said I was going to make her a bag for her cross stitching. Amy loves dolphins. So this is the fabric. Oh, this is the fabric that I'm going to make her a bag out of. So I have 3 bags to make this week. I am also making a prototype for my shop of something I haven't seen yet on the internet. I'm really excited about it, but I am on prototype number 3. I sent one away to get reviewed by somebody who I trust and respect in the cross stitch industry. And she had some really great input, so I'm gonna try today and hopefully make up a final one, and then I will show that next week. I've also been thinking about signing up for a club for cross stitch fabric. I see a lot of people talk about it. It looks like it'd be a lot of fun. It's nice, I think, to have a stash, to be able to just go right on into it instead of having to shop and wait for it to come in. I only have a Joann's fabric and a Michael's around, and they do not have much in the way of cross stitch, and they definitely don't have much in the way of cross stitch fabric. So I was thinking about joining one of those. Does anyone belong to one of those clubs? And if so, do you love it? Do you think it's worth it? Where do you go? Recommendations, put comments down below so I can check it out, check out some of these places, and maybe sign up for one. If you looked at some of my projects, which I completely forgot to tell you what they were made of, I did stitch on some linen. I said a while ago that I would not stitch on linen, that it was just... What are you doing? No. Can you not drink my coffee? Come on, down. I have since bought an amazing, huge magnifying light with a lighter glass on it, with a light around it, and it has changed my world. Linen is now something I can use, so I'm very excited about that. And I just realized that I didn't tell you any of the fabrics that I used except for maybe one. I do apologize. I'll get better for next week. But so linen is a thing that I can use. It's making me a little bit more excited about building up a stash. So again, where do you go for your fabric stash? If you belong to one of those monthly clubs, comment down below. I'm gonna go check them out and hopefully sign up for one. I was just cross-stitching away yesterday and had a pretty big surprise. My fiance, who works from home at the moment, just kind of casually glanced over at me and said, "Hey, I was thinking of trying cross stitch." So I completely stopped what I was doing and got online and found him a football cross stitch. So I'm very excited about that. Hopefully next week I'll be able to show you, when all the stuff comes in, what he's going to be working on. So he is going to try cross stitch. He did try it as a little kid with his grandmother when he was younger, but doesn't really remember any of it. So I'm really excited. I'm hoping he'll enjoy it, and hopefully I have some stuff to show you. He did inform me he will never be on my video, but that's okay. As long as he gives it a try, I'm just excited. I have sucked it up and been on the golf course with him quite a few times, so I guess this is payment back for that. So that is it for the cross stitch. I am going to actually go on to some yarny goodness. If you're only here for the cross stitch, I will see you next week. If you want to hang around for some yarn stuff, I will see you back as soon as I straighten out all this cross stitch stuff and pull the yarn up. Okay, we are back for the yarn. So I was on a kick for a while where I was making fingerless mitts. It's something that I think I can make and actually wear versus the sweaters, which are just a little too itchy for me. I decided to try my hand at dyeing some self-striping yarn, and these are a pair of fingerless mitts that I made for myself. This is called Spread the Love by the Crazy Sock Lady, this pattern, and the yarn is just something that I dyed up. It's a one of a kind. I don't think I could ever match this again if I tried. I did love the yarn though, so I did make a second pair of fingerless mitts for me. This is Whisper in the Winds. It's actually a sock pattern. It's not a fingerless mitt pattern, but I just took her sock pattern and then I took her fingerless mitt pattern and I adjusted it. So I have 2 sets of fingerless mitts for this winter. And then I decided to make a pair for my fiance for when he goes Pokemoning. You do need your fingers when you're Pokemoning, but it does get cold here in Maine. So again, I'm doing the Whisper in the Winds sock pattern by the Crazy Sock Lady. I'll link her below for anyone who's interested in yarn if you're still around. I'm assuming you might also be a knitter. And I dyed up this yarn as well. This is still on the needles. I do it 2 at a time, so I find if you put a skein in each baggie, it stops it from getting all twisted, although it's been in a bag for a while, so it is a little twisted. But this is, he said what color he wanted, so I dyed up to match the color. And this is his Whisper in the Winds. So I'm going to try and pull this out and start working on it. I didn't mind putting it away in the summer because who needs mittens in the summer? But it's starting to get cooler weather and I do want these done for him in time for him to use it. So that'll be his mittens. And then I got in the mail, oops, this is going to be crinkling. Sorry about that. I belong to the Hypnotic Yarns Patreon page, and she is Yarnables, which she does a monthly skein of yarn, and it's a mystery box, but she does only open it a few times a year. I don't think it's open right now, but this skein is part of the inner circle. And what happens is if you belong to her Patreon page, she posts 3 pictures every month, and everybody gets to go on and vote for the picture they like best, and the winning picture is how she dyes the yarn. And this is what came in this month. Looking at this definitely makes you want to start knitting again. Isn't that beautiful? And then I also signed up for a Halloween Advent calendar from Cherry Pie Cottage, and those came in. So we have a little bag came with it, with a pin, and I think these are just little wax melts, a bunch of stickers, and then just some great spot keepers. So we have Skeleton for day 1. Look at that. And then this is Halloween for day 2. Zero for day 3. Sally for day 4. The Mayor for day 5. I cannot remember which club she called this, and she didn't write it on the package. I remembered back when I bought it, but I bought this at the beginning of the year. So comment below if you remember which show, based on these names, which Advent this is from. This is Dr. Finskelian. Oh, I can't say that. Day 7 is Lock, Shock, and Barrel. Oh my gosh, look at this one. Can you even? Look at how pretty that is. And I haven't opened up day 8 yet. Day 8 is today. But I wanted to wait. And day 8 is Bunny. Oh, look at that. I did go with the bigger skeins. I think these are 50 skein yarns, so not sure what I'm going to do with them. If anyone has an idea on some really good Advent designs, I do want to keep them all together in something. Comment below something that you think this yarn would look beautiful in. I think that is everything I have for today. So happy crafting, and I'll see you next week. No, don't eat my bags. Stop it. Okay. Here is going to be the object of most of my bleepers. Say hi, Bella. Yeah, you know. Now I've got ketchup on my face. Gonna take a brief pause while the dogs make all kinds of noise.